In this sketchbook challenge, we're going to take a look at how to draw a realistic tree. We're going to take a step-by-step approach to this drawing by first drawing basically the skeleton of the tree. So we're going to draw the trunk of the tree, and then we're going to bring a few lines out for the basic branches. We're going to continue to do this, letting each branch off into a couple more lines. You can be loose here and be very organic with your lines. Don't be too stiff. Now that we've got the basic skeleton of our tree, the next thing we need to do is kind of look at how far out the canopy of the tree goes. So I'm going to draw a few rounded lines to indicate the overall shape of the canopy of the tree. When we go back and add some of the details like the leaves, we're going to use these lines as a guide. Alright, now that we've got the canopy and the branches in place, let's start making those branches look a little bit more realistic. We need to consider the light source, and in this case the light source will be coming from the left side of the image. So we're going to create more shadows or darker values on the right side of the branches. We can also put a bit more pressure on the pencil now since we've got some guidelines to go by. We can be a bit more confident in the marks that we're making. You don't have to follow the lines that you put down that closely either. You can loosen things up a little bit and let that line kind of wander through the canopy. Create some overlapping when you draw these branches, so have some branches appear like they are closer to the viewer and some that kind of recede backwards into the tree. Try to create a full range of values, so have some really dark values in there. Don't be afraid to get super dark with your pencil. Then there might be a couple branches that will poke through the canopy here and there. Now that our branches are in place, we can start to focus on creating the illusion of the leaves of the tree. Now you might be tempted to draw every single individual leaf on the tree. But not only would that take a very long time to do, it probably is not going to look like a realistic tree. Instead, we see the world as a collection of values, so dark and light areas, and a tree is no different. There are going to be collections of dark values and areas of light value and tones that are in between the dark and light values, and those are called midtones. So we're going to have shades, which are the dark values, and tints, which are the light values, and then midtones in between. And when we make the marks, we're going to make the marks in a manner that mimics the texture that we see of the groupings of leaves. So we're going to make lines that kind of go over each other and in a very organic and loose manner. And what's going to happen is it's going to translate as leaves, as individual leaves, even though we're just creating some very loose marks. Now this is the part of the drawing that takes the longest amount of time, so even though you're making loose marks, you still want to be patient with this process. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to speed this up just a bit further so you don't have to watch me make all these textural marks. But you'll notice it's definitely darker towards the center portion of the tree, and it gets lighter as it goes out. Of course, there are going to be a few darker values that make their way out to the edges of the tree, but not that many. They're just kind of sparsely spread out. And since our light source is coming from the left side, it's overall a little bit darker on the right side of the tree. We can add a few little pieces of leaves that kind of make their way outside of the boundaries of the canopy. And we'll put a little bit of cast shadow underneath the tree. We'll make the mark so it looks a little bit like grass. And remember, it doesn't matter what you draw, just as long as you're drawing something every day. For more sketchbook ideas, be sure to visit sketchbooknation.com.